Greetings, Vault Hunters all across the 6 galaxies. Welcome to the Bordercast. We are live at our usual time, 12 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on Thursdays. I'm Mitsu.
And I'm Tessica, coming to you every week to break down all things Borderlands.
You know, I didn't have an idea on what I wanted to do for witty usual banter today, so we're just going to jump right into thanking everybody and get right to the all information that everybody wants to hear about. As always, we want to take a minute to thank everybody listening on iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher, and those watching right now live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Steam, or later on the VOD. If you are enjoying the program, we would love for you to give us a big old like, follow, or favorite because you love the scarves, or hate them, whichever. And I realized I wasn't wearing one.
Yeah, or you complain about the fact that they're not there at any given moment. Yeah. It's okay, either way.
That's my bad.
Designer's Cut is out now. It's super fun. It includes Arms Race. It includes the 4 beautiful, amazing, fun new purple trees. I've been playing with them. I know Mitsu's been playing with them, and everybody's been playing with them. We'd love to hear how you guys have been enjoying them. We'd love to hear what your favorite skill tree is. There's some awesome hot fixes heading your way also today that include a change to Iron Cub, or as I love to call him, Baby Bear. I'm very excited for this. I know Psychotic Wolf and some of my other Mo's main friends are super excited. Gonna be good.
Yes.
Yeah. Borderlands 3 is now available on both PS5 and Xbox Series X. I am incredibly jealous of all of you that managed to actually get one of these platforms, one of these consoles. They both look amazing. I know that Triple G, I believe, is doing an unboxing today of one of them on his stream. So you guys should check that out. And I don't know, are you getting one of the consoles, Mitsu? Are you planning on it? PS5? No?
Yeah, okay. As I would genuinely love to have one. If somebody came to me tomorrow and said, I got a lead, you can get this Series X or this PlayStation 5, I'd be like, okay, absolutely. That way I can fulfill my ultimate dream of being able to do 4-player co-op, couch co-op Borderlands 3 when safe with friends. But since that's probably not going to happen, I'm going to have to suffer until, I don't know, 3 years from now when finally everybody has one except for me, and then I'll get lucky.
I just want a PS5. That's all I want. I just want a PS5 so I can, play the exclusives and be happy, but it's fine. I'm okay with not getting it right now. Because Xbox games I can play on PC. Right. And Borderlands 3 is going to have crossplay sometime in 2021, hopefully in the relatively near future. So I'll be able to play with my friends on Xbox and my friends on PS5, even if I don't have one. So it doesn't matter. It's all good. But I would love a PS5 at some point. Just putting it out in the universe.
I've heard, and this is a slight detraction, but it makes me think of the possibilities for Borderlands, for example, that the haptic feedback on the PlayStation 5 controllers is absolutely incredible. So for me, what I think of when I think of that is like feeling that real tactile feedback when you're firing a weapon or something like that, or like getting kicked back when you're firing a rocket launcher.
Yeah, it's really cool. I never realized the value of that because like when I play on PS5, I have to use an adapter to use keyboard and mouse because I have basically a useless right hand due to an old injury. Can't use a controller at all. So I have to use an adapter, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I could never experience the haptic feedback on the controller. However, I've recently started playing VR games and there's haptic feedback on VR controllers. I use the index controller so I don't have to like hold them. They just hold themselves onto my hands. It's so nice. I can't use the thumbstick, but it's fine. I haven't needed it for the games that I'm obsessed with. Anyway, the feedback is so satisfying. It's like a thing. It gives you that reinforcement that you've like done the thing correctly. And there's just something about it that's incredibly satisfying. It's almost like the gun sounds in Borderlands when you shoot whatever your favorite gun is. For me, it's the flipper forever and always. I love that gun so much. But anyway, whatever gun you're shooting, something about that feedback is just incredibly satisfying. And haptics, I think, do the exact same thing, but with tactile sensations, and it's so nice. So I'm excited for everybody that will be getting to use their new controllers with that feedback. That'll be really cool. I'm sure it'll be cool for Borderlands 3 as well.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. Bunkers and Badasses. We've talked about it. we're going to keep talking about it until it comes out. And then we're going to talk about it some more when we finally actually have it in our possession. I know you're very excited for it. Tabletop right now is a really big deal. I'd love to see where we can kind of take it from there, because I want this world. I want this imagination to come forth from everybody and be able to enjoy and share in Borderlands and come up with these crazy new ideas. Some of which, I mean, it's Gearbox. So Gearbox likes to kind of pull from jokes on the internet and make references and things like that. I could foresee somebody making something happen and then it goes viral, and then down the line, maybe if they do an expansion to Bunkers and Badasses, they like incorporate those elements into the game too.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So once everybody's got their actual hands on it and they can start letting those imaginations fly, I'd love to see what the people come up with and what winds up being the next cool hotness, if you will, when it comes to tabletop gaming, Borderlands style.
I just want to see like all of the cool characters we can create in the world and play with our friends. And like I'm gotten so used to recently doing like tabletop over Zoom, and I just think it's so nice to be able to do that, especially right now when things are locking down again and everybody's stuck inside again and all of that. And honestly, like the more we stay inside, the more we are conscientious, the better, and the quicker we'll all get through this. So having tabletop stuff to do using online, platforms is such a gift. It's such a gift. It's a way to be social with your friends and not feel like you're necessarily even in the space that you're in. Like if you have a good group to play with and a good storyteller or DM, you can feel yourself sort of transported to this alternate universe. And I definitely want to exist in a universe where there are lots of vault hunters and we can make up our own and go on crazy adventures. Like, how cool is that? I'm so excited. I just wish it was here already.
I believe March is what we're looking at for that timetable. So.
Too far, but soon.
We said too far, but we have managed to make it almost completely through this year. It flew by, I think, faster than most people figured it would, especially during some of those really rough days back in April and May when it was real. Now here we are. It's getting a little real again, but we're finally getting out of this month and we're getting out of this year, and we're going to move on to bigger and better things in 2021, both globally and here on the official Borderlands channel.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
We're thinking big and small.
Yep. Mayhem 11 is here also. I would love to hear about how you guys are enjoying it. If you're happy with it, if you find yourself going back to Mayhem 10 or, completely exclusively playing Mayhem 11, what you guys have been up to. So definitely, tweet us at Tess Games, at Mitsu Show, or come and hang out with us on this channel when we stream. I'll actually be streaming later tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, doing some Borderlands gameplay. It'll be really fun. I want to test out the new hotfixes to Baby Bear because he's my baby and he's adorable, and I want to see him do well. That's all. But yeah, I love Mayhem 11. What about you, Mitsu? Have you been playing mostly on Mayhem 11 or?
Oh, oof. All right. I guess we can get into this a little bit. Okay. So what I've been doing forever now is I haven't even bothered with the skill trees for the most part. I've played with them a little bit, but my jam is arms race.
Nice.
I mean that. The only thing that I have done for the past 2 weeks now is play arms race, more or less. I think I went and killed Grave Ward a few times just to mess around and open up a few red chests for chat, but we have the extraction event, so it's a very similar premise. And that is because I love the gunplay in arms race. I do. To some people at first, it seems a little weird. If you hear about it, people will say, okay, Tediore is overpowered. Get a good Jacob's weapon. But if you really break it down and you start to listen to what everybody's saying about arms race, Tediores are exceptionally strong. Actually accurate. Sure. Jacob's weapons, most of them are very good unless you have to manually reload using each bullet at a time, because that sucks. That's way too long. Very true. COV weapons, especially the pistols and the assault rifles, incredibly strong. Incredibly strong.
high fire rate like Molly ones.
Hmm.
Really, really, really good if you can get an elemental, especially if like really any elemental damage type is just going to be better if you
Yep.
can find it. So those are really, really nice. I've
I
also,
found. Hmm?
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I found Molly One pistols in particular. If you get a white Molly One
Yeah.
pistols to start, I don't feel like it's the worst thing in the world. It does pretty good work. So Molly One is covered. Hyperion shotguns.
Yeah,
Most
actually.
Hyperion white
Hmm.
shotguns are really good to start with. They fall off a little bit when you get in some really high pressure situations because the reload speed's a little low, but the damage values are high if you shoot somebody directly in the face with it, and it will get you some work done. You'll feel really good about it. Flat off is really strong. Some of the flat off
Yeah.
pistols can fire real fast, and with taser, you're able to actually shock down shields and then just melt them afterwards.
Doll has some really good guns in there also. If you find yourself a Terminator, which is actually a Molly one shotgun, you're
Mhm.
basically set. That's all you need. It's amazing. This is a gun that DePriesticles told me about for doing one lives like way before we even knew arms race was a thing, and it's always been amazing for that, and it is equally amazing for this. And it's just so nice if you can find one, if you're lucky enough. Um, I think it depends on the day. Some days I have a lot more successful runs than other days.
Yeah.
I think it really depends on how well you focus and how lucky you get. But definitely extracting and being able to bring some of that really awesome extra special extract only loot to our communities has been really nice. I've been enjoying getting everybody that loot, the Dark Harmony and Plasma Coil and Madcap and all that stuff.
Yeah. Doll sniper rifles, specifically Doll green sniper rifles that are
Yeah.
semi-auto, ones that have the silencer on the front. Those are exceptionally strong too if you're nailing your headshots.
Yeah.
So we've covered pretty much every weapon manufacturer.
Yeah, because I mean, there's definitely a gun from every manufacturer that can get you through.
Mhm.
And there's so many opportunities for good loot, whether it be extract only or for loot that you can use in the mode itself. You're not going to have the perfect loadout every single time, but it happens often enough that there's plenty of times where you can extract and have a good time, I think. And it's really, 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 really nice. It just feels
Oh,
good. It feels good. It's so satisfying. The guns are great. The murder cane is great. The loot locations are great. It's just a lot of fun playing it.
it is. I had several ones on one day right here on the official Borderlands channel when I was doing my stream, and three in a row, not one, not two, but three. All of them produced Maggies for me.
Ooh.
When
Wow.
you get the Maggie, it's like you powered up. You just can go crazy. Revenants, whatever. Badass enemies, don't care. Everything just dies. And it's basically the I win gun. If you can get it. If you can get it.
The I win gun. I like it.
The I win gun, yeah.
It's so good. Oh man.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
So what were you
definitely.
doing this past week?
That's basically what I was doing. I did do a little bit of takedown runs with the various builds with the purple trees, just because I really, 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 really love. First of all, Baby Bear, he's adorable. And I also I wanted to try out the new items. And
Mhm.
I got a Dark Harmony, I think, and I took that and a Plasma Coil into the Molly One takedown. So I ran a couple of those and I ran a bunch of arms race just to get people loot and myself new loot and just trying different things. There's a lot of loot in there that's really really good that I haven't had enough time to kind of because I've been so focused on running arms race that I haven't really played around with the loot that you get from arms race enough. I think it's hard to tear yourself away. So
Yeah.
trying to
It's a
kind of
really weird
do
balance.
both. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And people keep talking about, oh, the boogeyman is extremely strong. Dark Army. I think Jolts was talking on Twitter the other day how the Tizzy is like the dumbest thing ever, especially if you use it on Moe's.
I did get a boogeyman. I actually didn't find it in arms race, but one of the viewers sent me one, and it's amazing. It's amazing. It's probably my favorite, personally, sniper that I've used in Borderlands because I really, really like automatic weapons, and it's super high fire rate automatic sniper that
Yeah.
feels like you're shooting an SMG, which is my favorite kind of weapon. It's like a sniper SMG. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I have to try it at some point outside in
Yeah.
the real world, if you will.
Yeah, well, there is a new event starting. I believe it starts on the 9th, the 19th today, the 19th,
Today,
the 9th. I think it ends on the 9th. That's why I was thinking the 9th, December 9th.
December 9th, yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So it starts on the 19th today with the new patch or hotfix that comes out today. I'm sorry. And it ends on the 9th. And basically, there are additional legendary drops in campaign missions. So if you're doing something like leveling up a new character, like let's say you never played Amara or you never played Flak, or you played a little bit of one of them, but you now have the new purple skill trees and you kind of want to level your way using those, or you want to do a one life or anything like that, you will get higher rates of legendary drops during the events, during the campaign missions. So really, really, really nice opportunity to kind of level a new character or do something like a one life. So I'm gonna do that. I think I might do that. Like I might take some of my characters that I haven't taken through True Vault Hunter mode with the new items, using the new items and maybe getting some new extra legendaries, because why not, right? It might be fun.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that event in a few seconds because it was part of a wonderful thing that I get to do every now and again, a segment that we get to do here on the show called
Tiny correction. I misspoke. It's December 3rd. I don't know why I thought it was the 9th. So the event starts November 19th, which is today, and it ends on December 3rd. Sorry about that. Anyway,
which we'll talk about it right in a few seconds in Hot Fixes Applied. There it is. I don't get to hear that enough.
Yeah.
At least these days. But I mean, we've decided that was a double-edged sword, but whatever. Regardless, there was a series of hot fixes that were pushed out today, November 19th of 2020. And today in Borderlands 3, they activated the Golden Path mini event and solved some problems for reported concerns. These changes will be live on all platforms by noon Pacific time. To apply hot fixes, as always, wait until the main menu you see a sign that says hot fixes applied, and then you will have them. If you're experiencing any issues or want to provide feedback to anything involving the game, of course, as always, please submit a ticket to support.2k.com. The Golden Path mini event grants guaranteed legendary rewards for completing select main story missions in Borderlands 3. This is a great way for people in co-op situations to jump in and using the new vertical split screen co-op on consoles to level up first-time Vault Hunters before jumping into the DLC and, of course, our favorite arms race. The event ends at December 3rd at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, much like when the show airs. Yep. Who could have foreseen? So the hotfix applies a few things. It activates the Golden Path mini event, which we just discussed and we'll discuss a little bit more in depth in a few seconds. Addressed a reported concern that Gunner's Iron Cub was occasionally prevented from scaling in Mayhem. I do believe this is exactly what you were talking about at the top of the show, Tess.
Yeah, so Iron Cubs, or Baby Bear, as I like to call him, damage output wasn't always scaling properly in Mayhem. So like if you were in Mayhem 10 or 11, it might not be doing Mayhem 10 or 11 scaled damage, right? Which, depending on your build, may or may not have as strong of an impact, but obviously, if you're playing with the new tree, you want to feel the super awesome power of your new abilities or your new sort of pet. And so this addresses that issue and fixes it, which is really, really awesome. I know Psychotic Wolf has put out a bunch of builds that are enhanced by that. I'm sure others have as well. I think it will enhance any build that uses the purple tree. So for most. So really, 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 really good change. I'm excited to check it out later today.
He is very clearly a happy boy, as are all Moe's players out there right now. They added additional clarity to the description of the Gunner's Eternal Flame class mod from Arms Race, which is the new class mod, featuring purple tree talents. They addressed a reported concern that Heavyweight Harker would occasionally not appear at all in Arms Race. Huh. Even know that was a thing that could happen.
Yeah, I'd never seen that before. Yeah. But cool, it's fixed.
Yeah. And but so we'll never have to see it ever in the first place. Yeah. And on PC, they addressed a reported concern that some players were unable to drop equipped gear from their inventory. That would frustrate the ever-living crap out of me.
I did run into this, but only once, and it was like I think I just saved, quit, and then I was fine like immediately after. So, but anyway, it's fixed now, also, which is great.
Yeah. Yep. So it's not a usual laundry list. It's a little bit of fixes. I will say this right now, the most substantial fix in this hot fix is probably also one of the most important ones that's been changed since arms race came out, or the designer's cut, I should say, came out in general, which is making sure that Iron Cub now scales properly in mayhem modes, because people did feel like Iron Cub was lagging behind, especially in comparison to everybody else's trees. Mantis does appropriate scaling. Black doesn't really do damage per se with their action skill ability. That's more of a crowd control kind of situation, so people weren't too worried about that. And Amara is just Amara. Like, were you expecting her to do anything less than a shit zillion damage with every ability that she ever uses? She's just that good.
She is just that good. It's amazing. Also, it's so fun playing with the ball. It's so fun. It's so satisfying. If you use,
it is.
Yeah, like if you use, I forget exactly which version of it, but there's a couple different versions of it. One of them will basically just make the ball go to wherever you're shooting. So it like will follow your aim and your shooting style as long as there are no obstacles in its way. And you can always call it back to yourself. Like, let's say it gets stuck on something in front of it, in the direct path of the ball and the thing you're shooting at, you can just pull it to yourself by tapping your action skill button and then shooting the thing in front of you, and then it'll go the right way, the clear path, right? Very, very simple and really, really, really fun to use. There's another way to use it. I'm so sorry, I'm totally blanking on the name, but one of the other ways is to basically melee it in the direction of the enemy. So like if you want to do a melee build, now is the time, like a real melee build. I'm definitely going to redo One Life Melee Amara actually doing melee from the start, I think, in the very near future, because when I tried to do it before, I realized very quickly that it was either a One Life or a melee Amara, at least until I got to like a certain level and could get some like something like the Face Puncher, because until that point, or at least the Psycho Stabber, I think the Psycho Stabber hadn't been buffed at the time when I did this. But anyway, now you can do that. You can do a One Life if you wanted, and you can go full melee from the beginning, and it'll be very satisfying. Now, your melee may not be just meleeing the enemies in front of you. You might be using that ball. So you're just like meleeing the ball, and the ball will hit whoever's in front of you, whoever you're aiming at, and do some significant damage.
Right.
It's nice. It's very fun.
Do you know what it reminds me of when Amara uses the ball? When Amara uses the ball, it reminds me of volleyball, for example, or soccer, of course. Two of my favorite sports. My wife actually used to play volleyball and was apparently a national champion. It was really crazy. Yeah, I had no idea. I married a jock. What the hell? Biggest nerd ever. But she also is a volleyball referee. And of course, for those of you who like association football or soccer, as us uncultured Americans refer to it as, you have yellow cards and red cards, which, of course, Amara reminds me of playing those particular sports. But because Amara's ball is so strong, there's a third card that one might need to worry about sometimes. The dead card. This is what happens when you use Amara's ball. Everything dies.
Basically.
Dead card.
Yep. That's what that was for. Cool.
Yes. Well, no, but it happened to work out that way very well. The visual, by the way, for those of you listening via podcasting services later on, which we appreciate you doing very much, is basically it's a white sheet of paper with a skull and crossbones on it because I'm a hack.
Yep. In the pre-show, when we were doing our little setup, Mitsu showed it to me and I was like, okay, and just kind of nodded my head because I didn't know what it meant, but now I know.
Yeah. I just have weird things sometimes sitting around the house.
You
never know what you might need something for. In this case, the dead card, everybody goes crazy. It's like, oh, Amara just did the ball thing. She spiked it. Dead card. Yay! The crowd goes wild. Everybody's cheering. Somebody died because Amara blew them up with her damage. And everybody's just like, yeah, it's the best. Borderlands.
So good. So good. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah. So the event, I'm going to post the link that announces the event on the Borderlands.com website in the Twitch chat. I'll also put it in the podcast description. And I did misspeak at the start of the show. I'm so sorry about that. So it starts today, November 19th, and goes until December 3rd, not the 9th. Sorry about that again. But yeah, it's very cool. So your rewards for saving the universe are about to get legendary, literally. So from November 19th to December 3rd, get legendary item rewards for completing select campaign missions during the free Golden Path mini event for Borderlands 3. That means it applies to everybody that plays the game. So it doesn't matter what platform you're on. It doesn't matter what version you have. If you just have the base game, you have it. If you have the Super Deluxe, you have it. All versions have it. Whether you're a newly minted Vault Hunter, perhaps via the new Ultimate Edition or Next Level Edition, or you're taking a new character for a spin, this legendary loot will give you a killer edge as you race to defeat the Calypso twins. Get your mitts on the Luda legendary Vladov Sniper, Handsome Jackhammer legendary Hyperion SMG, Nemesis legendary Doll Pistol, Hellwalker, which is an awesome gun by the way, legendary Jacob's Shotgun, and more. This is the perfect chance to power level a new character to get them ready for endgame content, just in time to try the additional skill trees in the new designer's cut that comes with Season Pass 2. So yeah, it's really cool. It's very, very cool.
So with this event, I've seen some people be a little jaded about it, or otherwise kind of find it underwhelming. And I'm going to tell you why it's not right now. Some events are going to be for end game content. Some of them are going to be for people who really grind at this game, where they're at the highest levels of play. We love those kinds of events, of course, here on the Bordercast. And in general, everybody on the team, they like to play at those highest levels of play. So we can benefit from those events severely because we know what they're going to do. We know how we can obtain loot because of these events, or iridium, or money, or whatever the case may be. There's opportunities out there for us at the highest levels of play to get the maximum kind of benefit from this. This event isn't geared necessarily towards us. We can take advantage of it if we wanted to create a new character. However, this is not an event that's supposed to be an end game event. This is an event that is supposed to be for people jumping into the game right now that are playing Borderlands for the first time. We can, of course, again, take advantage of that as players, helping other players to navigate the world of Borderlands 3 and get all set up by going through the story for their first time. So they can get all of these cool guns that we already have. We've already played with the Hellwalker. We've already played with the Leuta. But there are people jumping in the game today that don't know about these things. And they should. And this is a chance for them to get their hands on it. Maybe not the best version of it, but they'll at least get to play around with it a little while. And then they'll be like, oh, man, this Leuta, this is a really good gun. Where do I go farm this? I want a better one. And they go, oh, well, now you got to go here. I want a Hellwalker. Now you got to go there. And you will be able to guide people through this. It's not necessarily, we can take advantage of it, but not everybody is at that end game mindset yet. And this gives them a chance to be able to play around with stuff that we've been able to enjoy for the past year.
Yep. And there are a bunch of new players actually on PS5 and Xbox Series X. There's a bunch of new players on PC. There's a bunch of new players playing this wonderful game. So definitely please welcome them if you find them in a mayhem, matchmaking. I'm sorry, for something. Just be kind. It's a welcoming community. I'm sure you guys will be. One cool thing that we forgot to mention, performance mode has been added to PS5 and Xbox Series X that guarantees 120 frames per second on TVs and monitors that can actually run 120 hertz, which is really, really, really awesome. That's a really nice new thing that I didn't realize they had added. So as of today, I'm assuming that means that is a thing. So if you have a brand new shiny PS5, I'm really jealous, or a brand new shiny Xbox Series X, you now have access to that, which is really cool.
Yeah, there was nothing mentioned about that. I didn't see anything about that in anything involving the Borderlands show. I haven't seen any news articles put about it until it just got dropped in everybody's lap one day. I don't even think they announced it. I think what happened is people turned on their game in PlayStation 5 or in Xbox Series X, and somebody played around and went, what is this performance mode? And they clicked it, and performance mode made everything go to 120 hertz. And they went, oh, snap. This is awesome. This is going to be some buttery smooth gameplay that I'm going to play here on my new console. And word got around. I started seeing all the tweets about it, and people lost their minds. They're like, wait, nobody told us that this was happening. And they just kind of like snuck it in there under the radar, which I appreciate immensely, Gearbox. Thanks for doing that. That was super cool.
Yeah, it's a really nice thing. I mean, the performance boost, I think, for console players is just huge on PS5 and Xbox Series X in general. You can now play 4K 60. You can play 1080 at 120. You can do all sorts of things. And Loading times are faster. Like you have the vertical split screen, the 4-player local split screen, all of that stuff. It's really nice boost. So congrats to you special lucky people that have managed to actually snag one of these consoles. I hope you guys are enjoying it. And to anybody that doesn't have one yet, I'm sure you guys will get them soon. I'm sure they'll be, I hope to get one soon along with you.
We feel your pain.
Yes.
We genuinely do, because neither of us have it. We actually off stream, just an aside real quick, we actually, the two of us along with Liz, were sitting around. We had gotten a lead trying to get one, and I was like, I need to get this right now. And we were right there for a PlayStation 5, and the site went down.
Apparently, it's happening again today at 3 p.m. Eastern on the Walmart site. So I probably shouldn't have shared that, but you guys are awesome and special, so you should know about it. So yeah,
anybody who's watching today deserves it.
Yeah, at 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be on the website. Yeah, trying to do the thing. But yes, the PS5 can do up to, I believe it could do up to 144 frames per second even, depending on your resolution and depending on the game, what the game is capable of, right? So I'm not 100% sure on that, but 120 frames per second at 1080p it can definitely do, which is really cool performance mode.
That's amazing. And again, not everybody has a TV that necessarily can handle it. If you do, you are going to go for a wild ride, because you don't think you notice it. And then when you actually switch and use things at their proper frame rates, when you can do something at 120 hertz, even watching something as simple as something on Netflix, when you see it at 120, you go, wow, why does it look so smooth when I'm watching this show? So you don't realize it, but your brain does. Give it a chance. See if you like it. You'll probably be very surprised. Even if the resolution isn't that 4K that you might be looking for, you're gonna see a new side of a first-person shooter.
It super depends what you play on. Like if you're playing couch co-op, for example, you probably have a larger form factor TV. It's probably 4K because that's really what benefits from that larger form factor, and it's probably beautiful at 60 frames per second. And the fact that the PS5 and the Xbox Series X can run that, huge thanks to AMD hardware that's in those systems. Very cool. And Borderlands, of course, was coded on AMD processors and graphics cards, so it was made to run beautifully on these systems, which is really awesome, and it does. But yeah, if you're playing on your monitor, for example, like when I play PS5, I don't ever really play on the couch because, again, gimpy hand. So I play on my monitor, which is a 144 hertz monitor that can do 120 as well, no problem. So if I get one eventually, I'll definitely be playing it on my monitor, which is not a huge form factor TV. It's just a normal monitor, but it runs at that higher refresh rate, and it's really nice to play games.
Yeah.
I'm excited for when I eventually get one.
Maybe today. Maybe today.
We'll see.
We'll see. I had the pleasure very recently of sitting down with some of the folks that currently run the Borderlands Discord, the official Borderlands Discord, and I did not know the history of it. It's a fascinating tale. The folks over at the Borderlands Discord, they started that as an unofficial Discord for Borderlands, and at some point along the way, Noel and Cullen and everybody at Gearbox kind of got word of this server and said, hey, we really like what you guys are doing here. Do you want to make it official? Like, you got to adhere to a few things because rules are important when you're officially representing a company, but we would love to have you guys be the official place for people to go and discuss Borderlands on Discord. So they signed it up.
It's an awesome place to be. I've actually been lurking in there. I don't chat a lot because I chat a lot in video form all day long. So by the time that I'm actually reading Discord, I'm usually on my phone, so I can't really type, but I always read a ton of stuff in there. There's a ton of really nice people that help each other out, that work on builds together, that teach new players what all the things are. There's like spreadsheets in there and all the Borderlands news. There's a news channel, all sorts of really helpful stuff. And it's literally just discord.gg/Borderlands if you just search. Also, we have a command for it over here on the Borderlands channel. I just put it in the chat. Anybody can use the command anytime, just !Discord. It's linked below the video as well. And I will also put it in the podcast description.
So they're trying to do their best to continue to build out the server to be the best place that you can possibly have on Discord to go and talk about all things Borderlands. I know Lazy Data is in there now and again. I believe Quag is in there every now and again talking about things. And one of the things that they are trying to do now is they want to kind of dip their toes into doing things that are a little bit more interview focused and kind of expand their horizons and bring more community focus to the forefront. So they were kind enough to ask me actually to sit down, and I'll be doing it this Saturday. I'll be sitting down with some of the moderators and answering various questions that they will have via the Discord, which you can also send questions via the Discord to us or the Bordercast, anything that you guys would love to have answered right here on the show. If there's any burning questions that you think need to be addressed, or comments, complaints, whatever you wanna say. I would say that it's going to be a wonderful experience. I'll be sitting down with community member Newtmad, who I know I've seen around many a time.
Yeah.
I've seen lots of their tweets and things like that. So that's very
Awesome
exciting to me to meet
streamer
somebody
in
like
the
that
community.
too. Yeah, and all of this is coming out of the Discord. So if you are not a member already and you are interested in getting to know a really cool group of people in an official capacity with support from Gearbox and 2K, this is the place to be. So make sure discord.gg/Borderlands.
Yep.
Nice and easy.
Yep.
Join up.
It's a good place, seriously. There's just a ton of really awesome people in there and a ton of information on all the things Borderlands. So definitely go hang out, go say hi.
Yeah. So
Very
it's
cool.
it's going to be really good. I again, I'm just excited to be able to do more involving the community. Well, there's something I'm a little. All right, we've had conversations about arms race, and I want to kind of get this one more time before we start bringing people on next week to really start breaking down arms race and other stuff on the show. Well, not next week. I apologize. Next week is Thanksgiving, so we will actually not be doing a show next week, if I recall correctly.
Yes, there will be an Ultimate Vault Hunter episode that airs on Thanksgiving at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. But there will not be a Bordercast that day, and we're filming the next episode a couple days before that. So there's a cool next episode coming up for you guys. Have we shared who that might be? I think we might have.
Yes, we talked about it a little bit. I talked about it actually yesterday and the day before too on stream. So I guess the cat's out of the bagel now. It is the Priesticles.
Yes.
And DePriesticles will be returning for a One Life run episode where he will be explaining a new way of looking at Zane featuring the purple skill tree.
Yeah, so One Life with Purple Tree using Zane, which is incredible, absolutely incredible. I've been working on it, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. Priest did a fantastic job. Liz, of course, always does a fantastic job. And I think if you're looking for a new challenge, doing purple only one lives is interesting, very interesting. We actually started one live on this channel last week. I believe it was Wednesday. Myself and Priest, he was running a Zane and I was running an Amara. And it was definitely a good challenge. Purple only one life is like it's tricky. I think it's really, really good on Zane. It's a little bit trickier on Amara because it's not really a survivability focused build tree for her, but there is some in there. And definitely, if you do flak, I really want to try a flak one life because that tree is all about survivability for him. Although I don't know where you get your damage, but if you're doing one life, you probably could just get your damage from guns. I recall some really awesome guns.
Yeah, I recall seeing a debate online a little bit about it's flak their survivability goes way up using their purple tree, which is wonderful. It's something that flak kind of really didn't have for a long time. There was some, but they were hidden in trees and it was very sporadic and it didn't really effectively keep flak in the fight longer.
I think you needed to
flak was already dominating something.
Yeah, I think flak survivability before this tree came out was based almost way more around just doing so much damage and killing everything so quickly that it never had a chance to do damage to you.
Yep.
As Vlack, and just decimating everything, or fade away builds that let you be invisible or be immune for a little bit, things like that. And those were effective builds. Red Fang, exactly. So there's lots of like options without using the purple tree. So if you don't have the new DLC yet, don't feel like Vlack is not a survivable character. He absolutely can be. But the purple tree adds a ton of it. It just makes it
Yes.
easy, so you're not kind of like forced into any particular item or any particular play style even. You can kind of play Flack your way, which is really nice.
So going forward on that, we talked about skill trees and we have arms race, right? I'm of the mind, and I know going into this, I want to see if your opinions changed a little bit on it. Some people say, all right, arms race, there really isn't a diversity in how the characters feel because everybody feels exactly the same. And ways to change that would be to include methods where people could get skill tree points, very basic ones to keep it from getting too out of hand with scaling again, or ways to be able to get access to your skill tree, or not your skill tree, your action skill. All of those things would add a little bit more flavor back into your individual characters that you could pick. And I want to see if you still feel like that is a good idea, or if now that you've played Arms Race a little bit more, your kind of the mind was is that really necessary?
Um, is it necessary? No, but would it be awesome? Depending on how they implemented it, yes, I think so. I love Arms Race as is, and I kind of feel like it's really like it should stay as is as a mode of Arms Race,
Mm-hmm.
but it would be amazing if there was a version of Arms Race that included some kind of basic. So there's a couple of different ways that I feel like they could go with it. Either just a basic skill, like a very basic action skill. It could even be mostly visual. That way they wouldn't have to like rebalance things too much. But just something that gave you that feeling of I'm Mose or I'm Amara or I'm Flack or I'm Zane. Like besides just kind of doing an emote and seeing your character, something that is uniquely sort of in line with that character's gameplay that already exists in the base game. So just a basic action skill when you first go in. It doesn't have to do a ton of damage. Maybe it gives like a tiny little bit of health regen or something. It doesn't even really matter what it does. Just something that's more in line with like that character's uh, base game tree or feel or etc. Just to give it that little bit of individuality. I feel like that would be a really, really awesome thing for them to do. One thing I don't want to see them do, and this might be an unpopular opinion, I don't know, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't want them to do a Battleborn style like leveling while you're playing through the combat of Arms Race. I
Yeah.
loved Battleborn. It was an incredible, beautiful like game that was way ahead of its time, and I wish that it was still a thing. But one of the only things that I actually didn't like about Battleborn was leveling in the middle of combat. For me, it broke my like kind of sense of immersion. It broke the pacing for me of sort of running around and shooting or meleeing, whichever, depending on the character that you played. And just like being in the middle of that immediacy of combat, like all of a sudden you're like smacked in the face with a leveling thing and you have to do it, and it just interrupts the pace of gameplay, which I think is so well done in Arms Race right now. It's literally my only criticism that I ever had was for Battleborn was that like I wish you could select the skills ahead of time and then as you leveled you just get them automatically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that would have been really cool. And if they do give sort of several skills, maybe some basic skills from their normal trees, if you could choose what those are ahead of time, or if you only get a certain set of them and you don't get a choice, they just automatically happen as you like kill enemies, or maybe you find the ability to have a certain skill in one of the loot rooms or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you're rewarded for going to a loot room by getting some little bit of your action skill tree back. And there's no like interruption to running and gunning and hiding and kind of like navigating the map and stuff like that. That would be really cool. So yeah, like I definitely think there are ways for them to kind of add a mode to this new game mode, or alter it just a little bit to give you that individuality back. Some are more complicated, some are less complicated. Basic action skill would be super cool. But yeah, I do feel like that could enhance the experience. I don't know if it's necessary, but I do feel like it would be a positive thing if they went that route.
Yeah. And for me, I guess I'm on the different side of it. I don't want to say it because I know that what's going to happen is it might start making the scaling of arms race a little bit more difficult. Because for me, I enjoy where arms race is at right now. I feel like things are extremely, almost painfully balanced, which is a good thing. Because when you don't have to factor in the math, when you don't have to factor in action skills, when it's just focused on the guns, it makes it really easy to stay at a flat, calm level. And that I enjoy that severely when it comes to this kind of thing. I know I love your idea. I do. I think it would be wonderful for people to actually have access to these additional things. But my one concern is if you're going to do that, you have to really there has to be risk reward there. There has to be a big risk that you need to take to get access to an action skill, because that negates the gameplay loop of, needing ammo, for example. Because the way arms race is set up right now, it's designed with you. If you just go and chuck TDRs, which you can do, unless it's a submachine gun, you'll probably run out of ammo long before you actually finish your entire arms race run. And that's by design, because it's supposed to force you into switching weapons so that you have to continually scavenge for things that you want. And when you have a skill, if it does damage, that negates some of that loop. So that means that enemies need to start becoming tougher to compensate, unless it's so difficult to get that skill that they don't need to actually buff it, because I say, you put in the time, you took a chance, you got your skill, we're not going to increase anybody's health or shields or armor levels at all, but here's your compensation as a result for the risk that you took.
I'm so sorry. I was muted. I apologize. I'm terrible. So, pro streamer strats. I was typing and I didn't want you guys to hear that. I'm so sorry. But anyway, basically, what I had been saying was that, I think there's definitely a way for them to do it, to add in some kind of basic action skill in a way that doesn't hurt the current state of things. I absolutely feel like I get your concern, but I feel like there's so many things they could come up with Borderlands. There's so many avenues they could take. This mode is completely like an island unto itself. It's removed from the base game, right? Like it's not really quite related. Like you can take things out of it into the base game, but it doesn't function the same way, right? It's its own thing, which is an incredible feat, especially like a year in or almost a year in. For them to create something like this in the first place. But anyway, so since they've done that, they could introduce an action skill that doesn't do damage, that maybe is visually unique to each character. Maybe it's a certain color or whatever. But basically, maybe it just gives you like a tiny bit of added health regen, right? Which is not really going to affect your amount of damage that you're doing or anything like that. It's not going to make things easier to kill. It's just going to make your character a little bit more survivable, so that maybe you could run to a further away loot room and actually make it through that and then get back, before the murder cane kind of closes in on you. And if it does start to close in on you, you'd have a little bit of a better chance of surviving, because you'd have that little bit of passive health regen. Maybe that's all it needs to do. It doesn't have to be something crazy. It doesn't have to be anything from the base game, although I'm sure there are avenues for them to take with those things too. Like they could just diminish the sort of effectiveness of a lot of those skills and just have like a little bit of a buff here and there. But just to keep things simple, if it was literally just a visual like color thing, and just had that little bit of health regen, that would be enough, I think, for people to make you kind of remember that you're playing Borderlands and you're playing Zane or you're playing Amara or Moze or Flack, and this is your character that you've leveled all the way through the game and you've been playing with, and that's who you're playing with now, and you have this new amazing challenge to kind of experience with your character, and it'll really feel like that. So yeah. I feel like there are ways is basically the moral of that.
Sure. And we have to see exactly how those ways pan out. The most important thing I think I'd like to see first, though, are more maps.
Yes, I agree with that. I would rather see them do more locations and different and more bosses before worrying about action skills. If I had to pick one, I have full faith in Gearbox to do multiple things at the same time, but they are already doing multiple things at the same time, obviously, because they're amazing and that's how they are and that's what they do. So yeah, I mean, if you had to choose, I would definitely say more maps, more bosses, and then all this other stuff.
Yes. So there's many different avenues to take, and we'll see what they decide to do as they go along. But I think Arms Race, just on its face, seems to have a very nice reception to it. Just a few issues here and there with maybe the implementation and making it more uniquely Borderlands as opposed to where it is right now. And we'll see where they take it.
I do think it's very unique in the sense that no other game has done anything quite like this. It doesn't exist, and it is very satisfying to play. From a challenge runner perspective, it's awesome. Absolutely awesome. From a streamer perspective, it's incredible because we get to get more cool things for our communities, right? For the overall Borderlands community, like somebody could be playing the game and also watching a stream at the same time. And like, let's say they're fighting a boss and I'm doing an arms race and they're like cheering for me, in the chat every now and then in the midst of their boss runs. And then all they have to do is mouse over the video when I'm extract, and they might win a really cool item from that, in addition to whatever they're already earning in the game. I have a lot of viewers that kind of like play at the same time and watch, and it's really cool. They're like, I won! Oh my God, I didn't have a chance to get this yet. And it's really nice. It's a nice feeling as a creator, I think, to kind of like share your experience as much as possible with your community. And this definitely facilitates that. And I think it's also really fun to play with other people. So like if you're playing on your own, if you're playing, couch co-op with your family, or what have you, like it's really nice to share Arms Race with people, especially people that are new to the game that may be coming from other games, other platforms. It's easy to get into. You can start a brand new character at level 13, and then you don't even have to like choose action skills and figure out your build or anything like that. You could just jump straight into Arms Race with your friends, and it's a completely level playing field, right? And so you can just play and experience the cool guns and get some really awesome loot out of it, and then start your story playthrough already having a massive leg up, which is really nice.
Yeah. It's just, I'm excited. I'm sorry. I had these flashes of this past week and all the cool things that I got to do. Yeah. Both, on the Borderlands channel official and actually streaming on my own channel for the first time in a little while, which was super cool too. It was so good. It goes back to the top of the show, and we'll tie it in a nice neat bow. All these cool guns and all these cool comms that you can get in Arms Race, they're so much fun to use, but I just want to play more Arms Race, so I don't even get to use them. So it's like that's the catch-22 of my life right now.
When are you going to start doing challenge runs, Mitsu?
Yeah. Oh, I've heard people are doing challenge runs in Arms Race.
Yeah.
They're doing Allegiance challenge runs. And that one fascinated me.
That's hard. It's really hard. It really depends on that first white chest. So like, not everybody knows this, but if you dropped into Arms Race, guaranteed every single time, no matter where you drop in, what the terrain looks like, what enemies are around you, there is a white chest within your like direct area that you can get to and you can get items from. You will get 2 guns and 2 shields. Okay, 2 white, usually white guns and white shields. I think I've heard of some people getting like blue things even in there, but just in general, there is always a white chest when you land.
Yes.
There have been some people that have dropped in and maybe not seen the white chest right away. And so they're like, oh, there's enemies. I guess I have to punch them. And sometimes they're successful and other times not so much. I myself, knowing this, have dropped in and like I dropped in next to enemies and enemies ran at me and I completely forgot about the white chest and was like, ah. And somehow I survived and then remembered about the white chest. But anyway, just know that it's always there. Just look for it. If you can't find it right away, it's there. It might be like behind a rock or something, but it's there. It's near you, very near.
We're a little pressed for time, but there is one thing that I did want to bring up. If we're going to talk about things to add to Arms Race, I would like to see more viability for melee. I think the mode lends itself towards having a balanced melee capability, and I would love to see if there was some sort of melee weapons. And I know probably not in Borderlands 3 this couldn't be introduced, but further down the line, thinking years down the line with Arms Race, hopefully staying with us long term, I would love to see some sort of ability for people to pick up, I don't know, a crowbar or a broadsword, something, a buzz axe. Where's my buzz axe? There it is. Hold on. This. I want to see people pick up this and smack people over the head with it in Arms Race. If Krieg can't be a playable character, we can at least get Krieg's weapon, right?
Yeah, that would be very, very cool. Or another thing, just as just came to me, but maybe your action skill in Arms Race gives you the ability to do a little bit of extra damage when you melee, and maybe there's like a visual effect, right? So if you drop down and you like maybe all it does, the damage it does, is comparable to those guns in that first white chest. It doesn't have to do a lot. It's definitely not going to do as much as like, let's say you find a really good TD or the Terminator shotgun from Maliwan or whatever, any one of the other guns that we talked about, right? It's not going to do as much, but maybe it just does a little bit more melee than in the base game, enough to kind of compete with some of those lower level white guns. So if you don't find that chest immediately, even though it's there, I promise you it's there. Maybe you don't see it. Maybe you see an enemy and your instant thought is, I want to go punch that enemy. And you'll be able to like activate your action skill and then punch the enemy for a little bit and then go get to the chest. So that'd be kind of cool. Maybe like if you're Moze and you're going to knife the bad guy, there's like a cool purple effect or something. I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah. It just came to me because I remember the first times I started playing Arms Race, I didn't know about the white chests being there when you dropped in. So I ran around for a while just trying to melee enemies, and that doesn't really work very well. So I'd like to see some sort of capability for enemies to be able to be meleeed and have that be fulfilling and like satisfying melee.
Yeah.
Like the old days. Yeah.
That would be very cool.
But I can't see that happening in 3, unfortunately. I don't think the systems are in place for that to exist. If they are, and it gets done somehow, and I get proven wrong, love it. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, dude, you're mad if you don't. No, it'll happen if it happens. And if it doesn't, hopefully it's something to look forward to in the future.
Yeah. I mean, we know Gearbox can do melee chef's kiss like so well because Battleborn, they did such a good job. I loved the feel of melee in that. So, you know, just say it. You guys do a really good job. We just want more. Yeah. So you guys, we are getting a little short on time. So just as a reminder, Season Pass 2 is out now with the designer's cut already out there for people to enjoy and the director's cut coming sometime in the spring of 2021. New event is starting right now, today. It ends on December 3rd. So definitely, if you're, wanting to level a new character, if you're new to the game, welcome to the community. Thank you for joining us. If you have questions, ask them in the Discord. It's discord.gg/Borderlands, or hit us up on Twitter, myself at Tess Games or Mitsu at Mitsu Show. And you guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you're enjoying the show as much as we love doing it, please make sure to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and if you enjoy the show. Get notifications set up on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn, Google Music, soon to be YouTube Music, and Stitcher. And join us live on Twitch every week, but not Thanksgiving week. So we're skipping one.
Yes.
And but the following week at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Thursdays.
Yes, right here on the official Borderlands channel.
Yeah.
by all means, Season Pass 2, go ahead and get it. I can't wait for Director's Cut. I want to find out more information about it as soon as possible. The rumors make me very excited from people who are speculating about it, but we can't really talk about that right now, just because I don't want to say anything from an uneducated perspective.
We don't know anything, but we're really excited for it.
Yeah, whatever it may be. I'm keeping my fingers crossed and my optimism on that one very high.
Yeah.
So, with all that being said, on behalf of Tess, myself, and the entire content creation team, thank you so much for joining us to do every single week. Now go forth and make some mayhem.